Good evening and welcome to the Primetime News on MITV. I am Jumoke Michaels. President Bola Tinubu is now in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Africa Summit scheduled to be held on Friday. At the Middle East nation, the Nigerian leader was received by ministers, members of the National Assembly, as well as other government functionaries at the airport. Tinubu will use the opportunity of the summit to underscore Nigeria's commitment to attracting more foreign direct investment and expanding business partnerships, according to the presidential spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale. The visit will strongly reinforce the administration's ongoing domestic economic reforms. Discussions at the first Saudi Africa Summit will revolve around supporting joint action, enhancing political coordination, and addressing regional security threats. Back here in Nigeria, the federal government is set to sign Memorandum of Understanding with Algeria Civil Aviation Authority to reopen route from Algeria to both Lagos and Abuja airports. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Management, Festus Keyamo, disclosed this after a closed-door meeting with delegates from Algeria at his office in Abuja. Correspondent Marian Enakemo reports that Keyamo stated that Nigeria has always had a bilateral relations with Algeria and have been existing for some time, but there's no specific bilateral agreement which the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will key into through bureaucratic processes. He further alleged prompt intervention to the signage of the MOU, which will aid the stress Nigerians undergo while traveling to Algeria and other neighboring countries close to Algeria. The ambassador of Algeria to Nigeria, Hine Latli, said the bilateral relations will help the country to restart the dynamic of cooperation of the partnership between the two countries.
Today they are here with a memorandum of understanding specifying that, of course, in the spirit of opening up the skies in Africa, they want to even add Abuja. They want to add Abuja to that route. And they're also giving us their second largest city in Algeria for us to also, in the spirit of reciprocity, for us to fly, our local airlines to fly into
borderly relations between the two countries. Now, there is in Algeria, the Algerian people greatly respect the Nigerian people. And our high authorities, the President Abdelmajid Tebboune, and all our government is engaged in this dynamic of developing the partnership between the two countries in all fields. But you can't develop partnership if you haven't direct flights between the two countries.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has warned that ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs, that fail to appear to defend their inputs in the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to be sacked by President Bola Tinubu. The Senate President gave the warning at the opening of a 5-day public hearing on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper organized by the Senate Joint Committees on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning and Economic Affairs, and Local Content and Foreign Debts. Senator Akpabio decried alleged frivolous expenditures by MDAs, particularly the government-owned enterprises. Chairman Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, who acknowledged the complex and challenging economic situation, said the 2024 to 2026 MTEF and FSP document represents a critical roadmap that charts the economic and finance course of the country for upcoming years 2024 to 2026.
When we have the consolidated revenue accounts, as expected, that all funds should go to the consolidated revenue account, and they ought to be appropriated for. Just bill and keep, bill and spend. maybe a good idea. There are some government-owned agencies that are allowed by the extant regulations, which cannot override constitutional provision to bill and spend, and then return what they like to the
investigative hearing on the remittance of all revenue-generating agencies of government to the consolidated revenue account of the Federation, as well as the payment of the first stamp duty, 1% stamp duty on all contracts executed in all MDA.
Still in the National Assembly, the Chairman House Committee on Finance, Honorable James Falike, has called on President Bola Tinubu to caution heads of ministries, departments and agencies under finance to respond to the House Committee's invitation in order to ensure the quick passage of the MTEF and FSP 2004 to 2006. Chairman of the committee, James Falike, made the call on Thursday during committee hearing at the National Assembly. The committee condemned the action of the Managing Director, Industrial Training Fund, ITF, for his refusal to honor the invitation of the committee and for sending a subordinate instead of appearing in person. House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike reports that Faleke thereby issued a warning while directing the president to call heads of MDAs to order.
The House, of course, at its plenary referred the MTEF document to us, and in compliance with the laws, we wrote letters to all the agencies to appear before us to defend their submissions. Unfortunately, it is clear that these agencies are ignoring or have ignored our invitations. And the House must pass this MTEF before the budget is laid. So I want to send...
The Defense Headquarters has warned troublemakers to stay away from the November 11 governorship elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa, or face injurious consequences from the military. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, gave the warning while briefing newsmen on the operations of the armed forces on Thursday in Abuja. Buba said the military is aware of plans by some individuals to dress in military uniform to disrupt the electoral processes in the 3 states on Saturday. Major General Buba said the military is determined to give the elections the seriousness it deserved, adding that troops and platforms were being moved to locations to reinforce security already in place in those states. He made it clear that security agencies were ready to identify and differentiate between real soldiers and the fake ones.
In Batsari local government area of Katsina State made contact. Following a firefight, troops neutralized 13 terrorists. The neutralized terrorists were the same group that attacked troops at Yangamji village on the 9th of October in same Batsari local government area. Also on the 3rd of November, troops in conjunction with hybrid forces raided suspected terrorist hideouts in Jizawa local government area.
To Ogun State, where students have demanded the immediate reversal of hiked school fees in all state-owned tertiary institutions. The students under the aegis of National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Ogun State, lamented that the hike in school fees was targeted at making life unbearable for them and the entire people of the state. There has been protest in the last 3 days by students of the Tai Sholari University of Education, Ijebu-Ode, over the hike in their school fees, a development that has forced the school to shut down. Addressing journalists in Abeokuta, the state capital, on Thursday, the NANS chairman, Francis Adeyoju, kicked against what he described as abnormal increment in the school fees of all the state-owned tertiary institutions.
I've watched with dismay The way school management, with the approval of the governing councils appointed by this administration, has been lackadaisical in handling tertiary institutions. Most of our tertiary institutions over the years have been rendered incapacitated, following poor funding and allegations they have always levied against the state government. It is no rumor that the government has almost abandoned tertiary education. This is evident in the current deplorable state of our campuses across the states.
Still in the southwest, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has presented the 2024 draft budget of 273.9 billion naira to the State House of Assembly, but without stating funds allocated to different sectors in the state. Tagged Budget of Recovery and Reconstruction, it comprises recurrent expenditure of 165.6 billion naira and capital expenditure of 108.2 billion naira respectively. The governor said the tag for the document reflects his administration's focus on revamping of all sectors for economic recovery and outstanding development. Affirming his belief in executive and legislative collaboration for development, Governor Adeleke assured the legislative members of Executive's arm will and determination to ensure achievements of budgetary goals once the proposal is passed into Appropriation Act. The Speaker of the House, Adewale Egbedo, said the House in its deliberations will consider the government's priority in sectorial development and alleviation of current economic challenges before the budget proposal is approved.
I'm highly delighted to present to you and the honorable members of the Assembly the 2024 draft budget tagged, I repeat, tagged Budget of Reconstruction and Recovery in the sum of 273 billion 908 million 997,410 naira. The tag for this budget reflects our.
To other news, for Nigeria to achieve strong repositioning of the real estate industry for the future through ethics, affordability, and sustainability, there's the urgent need to institutionalize an ecosystem mechanism. Stakeholders at the Nigeria building industry who converged on Lagos during the International Real Estate Federation Nigeria's 50th anniversary maintained that every single individual must be considered so as to achieve availability, accessibility, and affordability. A former deputy governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Tunde Lemo, and a renowned economist, Biodun Adedipe, led other speakers to examine the way forward for Nigeria's real estate industry. The president of FIBCI Africa and Near East Region, Prince Adeniji Adeli, and the Lagos State Commissioner for Housing, Maruf Akinderu Fatai, said to address housing deficit of about 28 million, there must be a concerted effort by all stakeholders in the building industry to play their roles accordingly.
For government actually to take up the heavy lifting by providing land, by providing infrastructure, so that when you take those two out, and then you encourage through research, builders who will be able to make use of raw materials locally. For instance, burnt brick is as strong as block, and you get it locally. So if you can do that, you can reduce costs, and then you can take off the heavy cost of land. That's the only way you can guarantee. And then you can also encourage the primary mortgage institutions to give long-term mortgage facilities.
Affordability is one of the three key elements in the democratization of real estate. And those three elements are availability, second is accessibility, and then the third one comes affordability. So first is for it to be available, and then access to it, and when the access, it now is affordable.
We need to increase cease afforestation. By soiling, the heats will be resumed, the carbon emissions will be drastically reduced. And aside this, even the environment become friendly, where people can live habitably, enjoy, work, and have it, just like a smart city. That is what we are set to do.
It is today between our members, many of whom we are hitherto unknown to each other, remains unequaled. These are helped to provide members with the much needed and the large market scope, cutting across property development, valuations, financing, legal and accounting services.
The issue of affordability in Nigeria real estate sector is a pressing concern. The current market is heavily skewed toward high-income individuals with limited options for middle and lower-income segments. To make the real estate market more inclusive, innovative financing model needs to be explored. For this reason, Lagos State government is implementing a payment plan over 10 years for easy access to home ownership in the state.
The International Christian Conscience Initiative has advocated unity among church leaders, noting that they should come together and stand firm in order to correct any evil in the country. President of Association of Christian Theologians and convener of the 2-day International Christian Leadership Program in Lagos themed "It's Time for Change," Professor Olakunle Macaulay said it's high time Christian leaders understood the purpose of Christianity and gained more knowledge. The theologist said the expectation of ICCI is to have a new orientation for churches in Nigeria that care for the spiritual lives, tunes the attitudes of the government, stand firm to correct anything that is evil in the nation, and hoping that the people will speak nothing but the truth at all times. The Chairman Planning Committee, Reverend Obioma Ojugo, said the ICCI aimed at bringing Christian leaders in the right direction, come out from the acquired old mentality and change to the direction of doing things right. One of the facilitators of International Christian Leadership Program, Elder Dikpo Macaulay, advocated for unity between church leaders as unity brings progress and success in all endeavors.
The only thing I see there is leadership, and we're trying to control that. Because of the economic situation in Nigeria, many people go into church leadership. It's like a business. We want to stop that. We want to check that. We want to control that. Another thing, we want to check the interference of the government in religious matters. It shouldn't be, and it's disturbing.
If families begin to get it right, if small churches begin to get it right, it will spread. But if we are just in the business of criticizing others and we are not even looking at our own problems, then this matter will linger for a very long time. So at the end of these 3 days, we want to see leaders that have started, inculcating the right things in their churches, and then from there, in a matter of time, it will spread.
We've come to realize that there's so much social problems in our community, and the church has the answer to it, and the church needs to bring the answer into the community. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, just to share some of the things that we're doing in our community with the community here in Lagos.
In spite of the current economic downturn, Nigerians have been urged to take responsibility of those in need in their immediate environment with their time, treasures, and talents, as only government cannot do it all alone. This was as the investiture of Ariola Nasiru as 6th president of Yaba Centennial Lions held in Ikeja, the capital of Lagos State. The guest speaker at the public presentation, Anoni Anyao, said heart of Lionism is an heart of service via childhood cancer, diabetes, hunger relief, environment, vision, humanitarian service, youth empowerment, and disaster relief. in the immediate communities, while they urged members of the public to embrace such gesture. The district governor of Lions 404A3 Nigeria, Adeniyi Balogun, said the need of the people brought to an extension of humanitarian groups' global curses from 5 to 8. He also urged members of the public to join hands in support for the causes of Lionism. Balogun, however, charged the new president of membership growth and more service to humanity in the immediate community and jurisprudence of Yaba Centennial.
The work of humanitarian service is enormous. There are a lot of people who need humanitarian service, community service, and I am asking those of us who are service-minded in our societies that have not joined the Lions Club to join the Lions Club so that together we'll have more people to serve humanity.
I advise members of the society to partner with us, to join forces with us, for us to be able to serve humanity the more. We are Lions, and what we do is to serve mankind with our time, with our treasure, with our talent. From the little God has endowed us with, we felt the need for us to give back to the society, and that's what we do as Lions.
I just want to appreciate those who have been supporting us so far, and while I implore and appeal to all good-minded citizens of this country to please support the Lions movement, and we have been holding series of trainings for our members. We've had 2 so far. The first one, we gave an insight about the club. We had the first training. The second training we had, it was on business structure. Business structure, like how to start up a business, how to access loans and grants from the federal government, different federal government schemes. We had a top professional coming to speak to us, and some Lions are already beginning to key into it and to see how they would boost their business properly.
We should have a heart to give to the community in our own little way. We shouldn't always rely on the government to execute everything for us 100%. But in your community, in your environment, even in your place of work, learn to extend that hand of giving to everyone you come across.
Still on the news, we'll take a break now to bring you foreign stories. Welcome back. Israeli forces fought Hamas militants among ruined buildings in the north of the Gaza Strip on Thursday, inching their way closer to 2 big hospitals as the plight of civilians in the besieged Palestinian territory worsened. But many are staying in the north, packed into the Al-Shifa Hospital and Al-Quds Hospital as ground battles rage around them and more Israeli airstrikes rain down from above. Israel says its Hamas foes have command centers embedded in the hospitals, and aid agencies called for an immediate ceasefire. Meanwhile, the UN's Human Rights Commissioner, Volker Turk, has accused both